Okay, we're all done here. All right, we're on chapter 29. Good morning, everyone. We're filling in for Holly and Jamie this morning as they filled in for us yesterday. So teamwork makes the dream work. This is chapter 29, and it is titled Embrace Your Willpower. He says, I can't tell you how many people have told me that they have no willpower. I think I've said that before. Do you think the same thing? If you think you have no willpower, you are undermining your own success. Everyone has willpower. To be reading this sentence, you must have willpower. The first step in developing your willpower, therefore, is to accept its existence. You have willpower just as surely as you have life. If someone were to put a large barbell weight on the floor in front of you and ask you to lift it and you knew you could not, you would not say, I have no strength. You'd say, I'm not strong enough. Not strong enough is more truthful language because it implies that you could be strong enough if you worked at it. It also implies that you do have strength. It is the same with willpower. Of course you have willpower. When you accept that little piece of chocolate cake, it is not because you have no willpower. It is only because you choose not to exercise it in that instance. That's where I think I've said it. The first step towards building willpower is to celebrate the fact that you've got it. You've got willpower just like that muscle in your arm. It might not be a very strong muscle, but you do have that muscle. The second step is to know that your willpower, like a muscle in your arm, is yours to develop. You are in charge of making it strong or letting it atrophy. It is not grown by random external circumstances. Willpower is a deliberate volitional, that's a big word, volitional process. He said, when I left college to join the Army, Tracy might be able to relate to this, one of the reasons I decided to sign up was because I thought it might help teach me to develop self-discipline. But somehow I had not been aware of the self in self-discipline. I wanted discipline to be given to me by someone else. I found out in boot camp that others do not give willpower and self-discipline. The drill sergeant might have been persuasive and inspiring, for at times terrifying, he said, but he couldn't make me do anything until I decided to do it. Nothing happened until I generated the will to make it happen. Make a promise to yourself to be clear and truthful about your own willpower. It is always there. So, Tracy, did you dial back in? Are you there? I guess.
I did. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can. So what do you think about this? I mean, could you relate to the Army story, or?
I could. And, hey, the one thing when you mentioned the Army that I remember the DI tell this, he was having trouble in basic training with this soldier, and he was supposed to mop this floor, and I remember the DI yelling at him, getting in his face, telling him, I may not be able to make you mop the floor, but I can dang sure mop the floor with you. And and I related that to, really, we can't make people do anything, but we can make them wish they did something. We all do have willpower. And that chocolate cake story, I read this earlier, and that is so true. I never really realized that. It's not that we don't have willpower. It's just that we would rather eat the cake than lose weight or be healthy. And so when we put things in perspective like that, I think it makes it easier to really move towards our goals. And so with that, I'll kick it back to you for some of your last words.
There's no one that I know of that has more willpower than Kirby, my husband. When he sets his mind to something, oh my gosh, it absolutely drives me nuts. I mean, he set his mind in January, at the beginning of the year, to not eat any processed foods, to eat paleo, he was going to get, as healthy as he could be. And I mean, I'd be like, because I had to learn to cook differently with this. I couldn't put any sugar in anything. I couldn't use white flour. I couldn't use, so, trying to make meatloaf, having to do it with tomato paste instead of ketchup. No sugar tomato paste. Having to make chili, no sugar this. There's sugar in everything. And so it was a big deal. And sometimes I'm like, can't you just eat it? And he was like, no, I can't eat it. I'm not going to eat it. I'd be like, oh my gosh. I don't have that kind of willpower, or I choose not to have that kind of willpower. But he does. 7 years ago, he gave up drinking. And not that he ever drank a lot, but he just decided when he was 60, he said, I don't think I'm going to drink any alcohol for a while. I said, okay. And 6 months went by, and, he's like, no, I feel really good. And a year went by, and 6.5 years later, he hasn't had a drop of alcohol, not because he had a problem with it. He just made a decision not to do it and to have that willpower not to do it. So it's amazing when you really set your mind to it. I watch him, and because I don't exercise the same willpower as him, it's sort of frustrating. And I think for me, it's probably just jealousy that he has more than willpower than me. So anyway, if you ever want a lesson on how to exercise great willpower, call Kirby, because he has it greater than anybody I've ever seen. So I'll give it back to you, Tracy, to close out.
Man, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. I will tell everybody a little thing that I found out. So I started reading about inflammation, this last month. And although I haven't been exercising a great deal of willpower, what I have been exercising was just a little bit, just making little decisions of willpower and trying to get rid of some of the inflammation in my body. And so by exercising a little bit of willpower once in a while, just one time throughout the day, that has led to more and more willpower. And I got to tell you, through using my oil every morning, not sure if I'm supposed to say that, but through using that and my willpower throughout the day to make better choices, I've gotten better and better about making more and more choices. And so I'm feeling better than I would say better than I have in the last 6 or 7 years. The inflammation's, I believe, totally leaving my body. I'm taking no ibuprofen anymore. And it all started with just making one little choice, maybe during the middle of the day, and then it was 2 choices about not eating processed foods and maybe cutting back on the sugar. But it wasn't all day. It wasn't all day that I was making these choices. It was maybe one time at lunch, and then that led to 2 times. So I want to challenge everybody. Maybe one time today, make a good choice of something you want to do, but use your willpower not to, and maybe that'll lead into 2 choices. So with that, I'm going to unmute everybody, and I challenge everybody to make at least one good choice today and use your willpower to do something you should do instead of something you want to do or don't want to do. So here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Everybody go out and have a great week.
Thanks, all. Have a good day.
Good call, guys. Have a good day. Cindy, you still there? I love you.